Hi, my name is Mrs. Holmberg, and today we're going to be looking at a story problem. We're going to be talking about base 10 division using some base 10 blocks, and we're going to be exploring the explicit trade notation. So let's go ahead and take a look at our story problem. Mrs. Allen ordered 12 hardback copies of The Hunger Games for a student book club. She spent $216 in all. What was the cost of each book? Well, let's take a look at what we already have here on the screen. So you can see we have 100, 200, 210, 211, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We have 200s, 110, and 6 ones. What do you think these represent? Yeah, these represent the total dollars that she spent. Let's take a look over here and see if we can talk about these numbers. So we have 200s, 110, and 6 ones. What does the 12 represent in the story problem? The 12 is the number of hardback copies that she's going to order. So we have our total dollars, and we're going to be dividing that into 12 groups. Each book is representing one group, and we have 12 books. So we have 12 groups, and let's take a look. We've got some space for our groups down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's our 12 groups. So we're looking for the amount in each group. And you may have seen your teachers write an equation like this. The total divided by the groups will give us the amount in each group. And that's the equation we're going to use this time. Other story problems might have a different equation. If it was a division story problem where we knew the amount, but we didn't know the number of groups, then we would have total divided by amount to give us the groups. All right, so in this case, we're looking at the total divided by the groups to find the amount in each group, or the dollars, total dollars, divided by the 12 hardback copies of the book, and we're looking for the price per book. We're going to add a little bit more notation here. I'm going to come over here to my explicit trade model, and I'm going to put a little H at the very top. I want you to think about what these little letters might mean. This was actually a brilliant idea by one of our 5th grade students. And he came up with this himself so that when we were talking through his thinking, he had that little notation to help remind him. So what do you think the H, T, and the O represents? So the H represented the hundreds place. So he chose to signify that with the letter H, the T for the tens place, and the O for the ones place. So this is 2 in the hundreds place, a 1 in the tens place, and 6 in the ones place. And so he used that to help him stay organized. And I thought that was a fabulous idea. We wanted to share that with you. So let's go ahead and think about this story problem. So Mrs. Allen has spent $216. She spent that amount of money to order 12 hardback copies of a book. And we're trying to find out how much each book cost. So we're going to do some division here. Do we have 12 hundreds in the hundreds place? Well, let's take a look at our model. I see one group of 100, 2 groups of 100. Do we have 12 groups of 100? No, we don't. So we're going to notate that here. We do not have 12 groups of 100. We only had 2 groups of 100. So now we're going to regroup. Let's talk about that. When we regroup, we are going to break apart these hundreds. we're going to break apart the hundreds into tens. So I just took 100 and regrouped it into tens. I'm going to do that with the other 100 and regroup that into tens. Now, let's count how many tens did we just make. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 tens was 100. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 tens was 200. So now let's notate what we did. We regrouped our 200s into 20 tens. Now how many total tens do we have? Well, in my notation, I wrote 21, but let's confirm that over here. So we already established that this was 10 tens and another 10 tens. So we have 20 tens here, plus the 1 10 that we started with. So I see 21 tens in our model as well. And that's why we have this notation of 21 tens. Can I split those 21 tens into 12 groups? Let's go ahead and see. All right, I've placed 1 10 in each of the 12 groups. Let's look at how many tens we have remaining. 1 10, 2 tens, 3 tens, 4 tens, 5 tens, 6 tens, 7 tens, 8 tens, 9 tens. If we have 12 groups and 9 tens, are there enough tens to place 1 in each of the 12 groups? No, there aren't. So let's go ahead and notate what we just did. We passed out 1 10 to each of the 12 groups. So I'm going to go ahead and notate over here, because when I took 12 tens out of my model, and so we counted up and we said that there were 9 tens remaining. So that's what I want to notate over here. So we have 9 tens remaining. Do we have enough tens to give out to each of the 12 groups? We don't, and so we're going to regroup. Now let's think about that. How are we going to regroup? Well, we've got these tens and we need to regroup them into ones. So let's do that. How many tens did we have? We had 9 tens, and we've regrouped all 9 tens into ones. So let's count how many we have here. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. We have regrouped these 9 tens into 90 ones. So let's go ahead and notate that. Now this says 96 ones. Where did that 6 come from? Well, there's the 6 right there. That was the 6 original ones that we had. So now we have a total of 96 ones. Do we have at least 12 groups of 1? Yes. How many groups of 12 ones do we have? That's what we're going to have to figure out now. We can do that a couple of ways. You could figure out what is 96 divided by 12? If that was a math fact you knew, you might do 12 times something to get 96, or we can just start passing out ones equally. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to start with passing out some ones. And while I'm doing that, I want you to think, do you think that each group will get more than 1? Will each of the 12 groups get more than 1? Well, I know that 12 groups of 1 is 12. So I think there's more than 12 left. I'm going to try replacing 2 ones in each of our 12 groups this time. All right, this time I want to try to place a bigger number. I'm going to try to place 5 in each. And if it's too many, I'll just put some back. All right, we were able to place all of our ones into 12 groups. So let's just see how many we have in each group. We have 1, 10, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ones. We were able to pass out how many ones to each? Well, we had 1, 10, and then we passed out 8 ones. So let's go ahead and notate that over here. Each of the 12 groups got 8 ones, and we used all 96 ones. We have no ones remaining. So let's talk about some of these numbers in relation to our story problem again. 216. That was the total dollars that were spent on books. And we divided that amount of money by 12 hardback copies of The Hunger Games to find out what? What is this 18 here? Well, 18 is the cost for one book. So we started with our total. We divided it equally into 12 groups, and we found the amount in each group, which was 18. So what was the cost of each book? The cost of each book was $18.